you clicked on this guide right here because you want to get the Rockout Guild Wars 2 emote, well, the Rockout emote in Guild Wars 2. A graphic should be displaying on screen showing what it looks like right now, just to make sure that you are in fact looking for the right item and you're not confusing it with something else, such as the /shiver emote. Now, what does the Rockout emote actually look like? Well, I'm right here on my copy of Alexis Redskin, one of the in-game Guild Wars 2 characters, and let me just type it in the chat, and yeah, this is what it looks like pretty much. Your character, whatever like race they are, they'll just go and start headbanging, like so. And then you just press any kind of movement key whatsoever to immediately make them stop doing it. So, before we start getting to actually, teaching you how to get the emote, there are going to be some prerequisites that you will need to go and get in order to get this thing. So, the place the emote comes from is the living world in Guild Wars 2. So, a quick explanation of what the living world is. Living world are pretty much story-related little episodes that are meant to tie in the bigger expansions of Guild Wars 2. A great example is Heart of Thorns released, and then there was Living World Season 3 between it that led up to Path of Fire's release. Then once Path of Fire released, there was Living World Season 4, which then went on to the Icebrood saga, which is technically Living World Season 5, but they just called it the Icebrood saga, and then we got the latest expansion, The End of Dragons. Here, wait just a moment, hold up there, Chief. And by Chief, I mean me from the past. Because you know how before I just said how End of Dragons is the latest expansion? Yeah, well, it was to the point where I was recording this video. However, now it's no longer the latest expansion at all. Instead, we got Secrets of the Obscure. You can tell because this here is the new daily login system, Wizards of Vault. There's no more daily login system where you go into here, go into the daily, and then you have the daily you get where it's get 2 gold. It's changed. I'll probably cover it later in a different video. Main point is, Secrets of the Obscure is now the newest expansion. So, yeah, guess that's how it is. I am, however, not going to remove that graphic from the video because I just corrected myself here, and frankly also, I spent a lot of effort editing that part. I don't want to remove the effort. I think you can understand. Also, just ignore the sky scale that is randomly flying past. Okay, back to the original video. That's all I wanted to add. Living World Seasons can be purchased if you just press O to bring up the gem store, and then they should be probably right here under the upgrades tab. If they're not here, just go looking for them some more. I personally cannot find them in here though, because I already have purchased all the Living World episodes already. Or at least I was around when they were released, which means the game gave them to me for free. Anyway, the important thing here is that if you are on a free-to-play account, you straight up will not be able to get the Rockout emote because you will not be able to buy the Living World season Icebrood Saga episode, Bound by Blood, that is the name of it, where you get the Rockout emote from. Another thing to mention is that even if you would be able to buy the thing on a free-to-play account, it'd be so hard to get the money because other than purchasing gems with real money, if we just go to the trading post and click on this button here it says buy gems, it brings up the option for like inputting your credit card and stuff like that for buying gems with real money. There is of course the other way to do it, which is going into the currency exchange thing here. Okay, there we go. And then you would basically pay the amount of gold, it says so right here, to get that amount of gems. The prices are quite high lately, and this would be nearly almost impossible to earn with a free-to-play account, which is why I'm saying if you're on a free-to-play account, you really shouldn't just bother this. Honestly, just click off the video. If anyone isn't on a free-to-play account, though, if you weren't around when Icebrood Saga launched, that means you will not get the episode for free. That means you're going to either have to buy it with gems, or buy the Living World season, like the Icebrood Saga complete package from the gem store up here, where I was just showing you, most likely in the upgrades tab. Or if you're on Steam, then there is a complete Living World season pack that includes everything. It is very pricey, but in my opinion, it's also kind of worth it because you get absolutely everything in that pack, and nothing is left out there. Okay, so now that that's explained, the next thing you will want to do is go into your hero panel again, go into the story journal, go to the Icebrood saga, and then click on Bound by Blood and play this episode, or click Begin this story. Now, honestly, when it comes to the actual episode Bound by Blood, it is very much just an intro sequence, and I'd say it's composed of up to 80% just cutscenes. On top of that, I don't really want to spoil the story that happens in it, and I'd like you to experience it yourself. So, if you get really stuck on what to do, I'd recommend looking up someone else's playthrough and watching them play through Bound by Blood, but frankly, for this guide here, we're going to just skip right ahead past the actual intro to Bound by Blood. I'll put a little cut in here. Okay, so here we are in the map, like I said we would be. Now that we've loaded into the map, you want to press H to open up your hero panel again. You want to go to Achievements. You want to click on Story Journal to bring this down. You want to scroll down to the one with the red flag on it called Bound by Blood. And here, right at the top, as you can see here, this one, Bound by Blood Mastery, is the thing that will allow you to get the rockout emote tome. They're set in this chest, like this. This chest indicates the rewards you get, and if you click on it, it will then open up this list, and here is all the various achievements in order to get the emote tome. When it comes to the achievements, I looked it up on the wiki, and you will need to complete exactly 55 of these achievements. I think on the wiki also listed that it was like 75 in total. So you don't have to complete all of them. You can miss out on about 20 of them. And as you can see, I have currently completed 39 of them, getting me up to tier 5 out of 6. Honestly, the tiers don't matter. That's just for a little extra achievement points. What you care about is the rockout emote tome. Now, when I'm immediately going to tell you, may throw you for a bit of a loop. I recommend, when it comes to getting the rockout emote tome, that you do not actually do the achievements. What I instead recommend is that you either go into PvP, go to the reward tracks, and I can't select it anymore because I've already completed it in both World vs. World and PvP, because I wanted the rewards in it, but there will be a Grothmar Valley reward track in both the PvP reward track section and the World vs. World reward track section right here, and when you complete either of them, they will get you the rockout emote tome. Now, I'm not going to just end the video here and say go ahead and do that. I'm going to explain why I recommend doing this. Honestly, some of these challenges here, in my opinion, are straight up unfair nonsense. And I'll give you a great example by putting a small cut in the video here, and we're going to get to the wiki, where I have already opened multiple web pages. So here we are on the wiki, just like I was mentioning before, because honestly, in my opinion, this list it provides is much better and easier to access than in the in-game achievements list. Like, honestly, you can just move your mouse over any of these things, and then right-click and click Open Link in New Tab, or just middle-click your mouse button and it will open the link in a new tab. And like I mentioned before, the reason why I've brought you here is because some of these achievements here are straight up, as I mentioned, in my opinion, unfair nonsense. And even though you don't have to complete all of them, you will most likely have to complete a lot of the, what I'd call, unfair achievements. So let's get into them. The first one of the achievements that I want to mention is this one, ballooning targets. Shoot every single target balloon in the target shooting event at least once. So this is meant to really test your aim and your skill, and what you are meant to do is shoot every single one of these balloons with targets on them as they're flying by, as you're on a flying platform as well. You can't really hop off the platform or fly around with your own flying mount in this, because that'll get you disqualified. And you have to hit every single one of these balloons at least once. There are 25 of them. May not seem that hard at first, but there is no unique identifier on any of these balloons at all. You have to just memorize their flight paths and where they are, and to me that feels almost downright impossible. I've never been able to get this one. That's just the first achievement that I think is just absolutely nuts. So over here we have Prolific Popper, which is shoot 300 targets in total. When I done this event, my highest score for hitting targets was 16 or 17 in a single round, and I'd say I'm moderately okay at being accurate. I'm kind of competent at it. If you're super accurate, maybe you can get more. The point is here In my opinion, this is way too many targets that it's asking you to go and do. It is just ludicrous. Then over here, we have VIP access, which for this, you have to purchase a souvenir title, a VIP souvenir title, and then here it shows what it costs. So it costs a whopping 500 of the special chilies you can only harvest in the Grossmar area, and you sometimes get like 3 to 1 chilies per chili harvesting node, and it works just like a regular harvesting node, but you also cannot sell the chilies on the market or anything. They're immediately account bound. So if you decide to go for this achievement and then stop halfway at like 450 chilies, well, unfortunately, they can't be sold. They're account bound. They can't be sold. It also costs 35,000 karma, which in my opinion is way too much. And this stuff as well, which is volatile magic. It's basically like a currency for Living World Season 4. And trust me when I say it takes longer than you think to get up to 2,500. So this is already, in my opinion, not a good achievement because it just gives you the title Festival VIP. And you're not even let into any secret areas either. Like, it's not even a proper VIP access. It's called a bootleg VIP access. I mean, it says it right there. Then moving on, we have, I guess, another one which could be considered a bit nuts. Shoot 10 balloons in the target shooting event without missing or dropping your rifle, same as the target shooting event. It is hard enough to hit a balloon to begin with, let alone hit 10 in a row. I have no idea how people do this. Moving on, we got Grothmar Valley Historian. Get 30 ancient coins around Grothmar Valley. Even with the option in the menu selected that makes it so that all objects you can interact with have this glow around it, I still couldn't find these coins for the life of me. It was like a giant, massive, just wild goose chase for coins. I never really wanted to get them. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is a really good reason why the video just cut so awkwardly after I said, so that's it. And the reason is because when I was looking through the footage and editing this, I started thinking in my head, oh man, like this dude is just droning on and on and on and on and on. Just, would he just please shut up? And yeah, that's when I realized that's not good. I'm the one who was talking. I was the one who was recording this. I was so pedantic, I got annoyed at myself while editing. So, I'm basically going to give you the abridged version of what I'm going to say now, and what I was going to say right before, without it being super long-winded, pedantic, and frankly sounding like I have my finger shoved up my behind, because I'm so high and mighty on my own horse. So, here is the abridged version of what I was saying. Point number one, well, you already know, it's don't do the achievements in Grothmar Valley, because they take way too long to get finished, and they're frankly insane with the amount of things you want to do. Thing number two I was suggesting, go do PvP instead of doing the achievements, and then I was basically going over a bunch of things with PvP, like how the mentality you should go into it with is probably, thing number one in general, go into it with a mentality where you're okay with losing. That's the first point. Second point is try it with friends. It might be more fun. And then the third point was something or rather like play unranked so you aren't worried about your rank going down, and all those different points should be showing up on the screen right now with text or something. Other quick thing I was mentioning about both the reward tracks for PvP and World vs. World is that you can get some decent loot in it. So I'll just really quickly go over the actual decent bits of loot. They are the recovered Char artifact. This is features in both the World vs. World and PvP reward tracks. It gives you a chance of getting an infusion, which is worth the mega gold, all the gold. Like I think over 5,000. It's close to like 6,000 gold, so that's definitely worth it. The other thing I was mentioning is the Metal Legion band t-shirt skin. If we just middle click over here and then go over to it, you notice that over here it's to actually do the achievement to get this thing, it's quite frankly very, very tedious. Like you have to get all these different banner skins, a bunch of different helmets that can only be... Well, no, actually, no, this is the same helmet, just with three different variations, light, medium, and heavy. That pretty much there is wearable only by Char, so that's a bit of a downside. You also need to get 3 shoulder pads and a whole bunch of different weapons, and then you finally get the t-shirt skin, or you do the reward track and you just get the t-shirt skin. And of course, it also comes with the rockout emote tome. If you do the reward track a second time, the rockout emote tome gives you a huge amount of karma. I think around like 20,000. Don't quote me on that, since it's been ages since I played this. Oh yeah, one other quick thing I wanted to mention. If just gonna open up a new window here and just type. Yeah, basically. So the quick cut I'm putting in here is because I wanted to talk about the potion of PvP reward. If I ever mention this in a later part of the video, just don't bother about it. It's discontinued. It's with the current Secrets of the Obscure expansion. If I ever talk about, oh, you can just do the daily to get daily PvP stuff to get the PvP reward potion to then progress yourself on the PvP reward track to get the rockout emote tome. No, you can't. It actively says right here that this here has been discontinued. Like all of the places you'd get it is discontinued. The potion itself is discontinued. And in fact, it says that this has been changed with the removal of this, like the August 2023 game update. They can still be acquired from PvP season achievements. Okay, apparently you can still get them for like completing a PvP season, that kind of stuff. But also, same with the Potion of World versus World reward. Also want to add that really quickly. Players must still possess the item, but it can no longer be acquired, which means if you have it in your inventory from doing World vs. World dailies in the past, you can still have this thing and then consume it, basically drink it. You get your character to drink it to increase your progress along the rockout reward emote tome. But this makes it so that it's going to be a little harder and more tedious to actually get the rockout emote tome. Like what I might say in the future of the video is just you can do with the PvP, the World vs. World dailies with like Big Spender, where you just go into World vs. World and spend, I think it was around like 15 points of glory, whatever they're called, to get it. Then this is no longer the case. You can't get these anymore. The reward system has been changed thanks to the Secrets of the Obscure, the new expansion, and the daily login rewards. Yeah, that should cover everything. Also, pretty much PvP was really self-explanatory, so I also went on a long-winded tangent about playing PvP and was going to include PvP background footage, but it's PvP. You just go into the PvP lobby, select PvP, play, try and not die, come up with your own builds, maybe that kind of stuff, maybe play with a friend. So that's just there, done, explained. And now I'll be going back to the original footage I was recording before, because that includes World vs. World footage, and World vs. World is a little bit more in-depth than PvP, and I really should explain that if that's your first time. If it's not your first time, I'll be including timestamps in the playback bar so you can skip right ahead. Okay, good, done. That was much faster than last time. On back with the irregular video. Okay, here we are back in game, like I said I was going to be in a few moments, and we're going to explain the boosters now. So, the first type of booster that will increase your basically your progress in World vs. World and the bar and everything, and this will also function for PvP as well, is the celebration boosters and the birthday boosters. And as you can see from the description here, the celebration booster will last for 1 hour. Another way you also get celebration boosters is when your character has their birthday. In other words, your character becomes 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, and so on. You usually get reward chests in your mailed to you by ArenaNet personally. Actually, it's kind of a bit more automated system. I don't know why I said personally. And these will come in it, and you can consume as many as you want to increase the duration of the boost. I'll give you a great example. I actually feel like using a few, so we're just going to use 7 right now, because honestly, I don't feel like that's that much of a waste. And we're going to put it back in. As you can now see, for a whole 7 hours, I now have a boost to Magic Find, but more importantly, a boost to World vs. World and PvP reward track. The birthday boosters are what you get from having your character's birthday happen. They function the exact same way as the celebration boosters, only they are more potent and they last for an entire day. Next up, we have the experience boosters. These are most likely you most often get these from either it being your character's birthday, like I mentioned before, in the birthday rewards, or from achievement chests. And for achievement chests, they're really easy to explain. This up here will display how many achievement points you earned and where they come from. And as you gain more achievement points, once you hit certain thresholds, you will gain achievement prep chests. Like the next one I'm about to get will give me 30 gold, 400 gems, 10 laurels, a bunch to my account bonus, and also a choice of 1 of 3 skins, because I already have a lot of the skins. The most important thing is that achievement chests will often come with both celebration boosters, not birthday boosters, but they will sometimes come with experience boosters as well, and the boost you get from the experience booster is separate to the celebration booster. So if you use an experience booster, it won't cancel out the celebration booster. Next up, the next type of booster we have is the Black Lion booster. I got these through a special event that was going on in Guild Wars 2, where basically you donated certain materials to these Black Lion requisition merchants. But the normal way you usually get them is through Black Lion statuettes. How do you get a Black Lion statuette? Well, you open a Black Lion chest with a Black Lion key. How do you get a Black Lion key? Well, there are 3 ways of getting it. The way I really don't recommend doing is going and buying it off the trading post. So if we just type in key here and then press enter, there you have it, a Black Lion key. That's because it costs 125 gems. That's almost as much as it costs to buy the Bound by Blood story thingamajig in the first place. It's why I don't recommend it. Instead, if you map complete some areas like the later parts of Ore, you will get Black Lion statuettes, and also you are guaranteed 1 Black Lion statuette once per week for completing your level 10 story, the final part of it, the final part of your level 30 story, and the final part of your level 60 story. Doing this over and over again and deleting the characters and then creating new characters is a method known as key farming. So now you know. And also, if we open up the Black Lion statuette thing, as you can see here, you can buy both heroic boosters and Black Lion boosters. A heroic booster is pretty self-explanatory. I have it right here. It is pretty much like a mix between a item booster, which is used for gathering and stuff, and a experience booster. For the purpose of this, we're not going to be gathering any items, and like gathering plants and materials and ore will not help us get the reward track. So we're just treating a heroic booster exactly like an experience booster, which I already explained. I hope you understood that well enough. Okay, so now that I've explained all those boosters, there is another way to boost your reward track gain, and that is by going into your guild menu, selecting a guild that you want to represent, and you will need to represent this guild, by the way, because we are going to the guild's guild hall. In this case, it happens to be for this guild, the Windswept Haven. The reason why we're going to the guild hall is because depending on your guild's level, they will usually have a different level guild bartender. The reason why the guild bartender is so important is because he sells boosts that boost various things by 10%. 10% more experience, 10% more karma gain, or in our case, 10% more world versus world track experience. You can only have one of these on at a time, so you can't have karma gain and world versus world reward track boost on at the same time, but you are free to exchange them whenever you want from this bartender. And the best part about it is that he does not the duration will never run out. It is permanent until you change it to something else, or you straight up just delete the character, or you stop playing the game. So I'm just real quickly using my sky scale for ease of access here, and going over to the bartender to show you exactly what he gives you. It looks like this on the map, by the way. It's called the Tavern Proprietor. That's what we're looking for. And then once we're here next to the Tavern Proprietor, we just have to find this dude. He's always called Nathan. He's always the bartender. And he says also, it says guild enhancement. And even though he says you got gold right, he doesn't actually need gold. So as you can see here, these are all the things I was talking about. We want the World versus World reward track boost. Remember to click this one and then click buy, and it now has replaced my experience gain that I had before with the reward track boost. You do not want this because that is experience gain in World versus World. You have a bar down here which tells you how much experience you have in World versus World, and as you rank up, you get goodie chests, and you also get more powerful in World versus World. It is good to rank up, but it will not increase our reward track in World versus World, which is what we want to do. Okay. Now that we've covered the boosters, I'm going to move on to the last section of this video, which is like kind of somewhat lazy way I play World vs. World, and how you can copy that method and kind of just slowly, little by little, chip away at your reward track and eventually get your rockout emote tome. So I'll put a quick cut in here and skip past the loading screen because you don't want to see that. Okay, here we are. We've loaded into one of the World versus World maps, and now I'm going to explain some, well, very basic things about World versus World when it comes to the reward track. In general, when it comes to your reward track progress here, pretty much how it works is if you see, I'm going to put a circle around this and an arrow pointing to it, because if I move my mouse off this, then this is going to vanish and I won't be able to show you. Oh, actually, never mind. Apparently I can just click that and it'll stay there. I'm a bit of an idiot. Never mind. So, this here displays your participation. This pretty much represents how active you are currently in World versus World. Doing certain things will get this participation up to a certain number, which will start ticking down. The reason why you don't want it ticking down all the way, and this is important, is because if this ticks down all the way to 0, then your participation will start going down. How your participation works is that as you do stuff in World vs. World, the game will recognize you're helping your team more. And then, every 5 minutes, which is counted here, as this ticks down, once this finishes ticking down, you will get this many points, the reward track points, to your progress bar. For example, this progress bar here is at 232 out of 500, and once it gets us all the way to here, I will get a nifty little chest. And once it gets all the way to the end, for example here I'm on the triumphant armor thing, I will get triumphant armor from this box. For you, this is going to be the Grothmar reward thing. So basically you go through and get all the different little rewards listed on here until you get your rockout tome at the very end. And as you can see, the timer has just ticked by and I got some extra reward track progress on this. It just filled up. You might have missed that because I was pointing around over here. So, what we basically want to do is keep doing stuff to keep this up to the maximum tier 6 participation, and not let it tick down. What do we do to keep it up? Well, we do the things I mentioned before. One of them is the daily. We do the dailies. And then if we want, we can get out of the World vs. World. Another thing we can also do is, it's hard to see right now, but right near here, there's a commander. Commander Rincelet Eve. If you see a commander with this kind of tag, commander tag, running around, they're usually doing stuff in World vs. World, such as capturing keeps or killing sentries, and in general, that kind of stuff. And if you follow them, you most likely have an enjoyable time, although not always guaranteed, basically killing a whole bunch of stuff, and then getting participation to your reward track, and therefore getting your rockout emote tome. However, when it comes to just doing stuff solo, I am going to basically go and show you a few things you can do by yourself to keep your reward track progress up and to stop it decaying, so that little bit by little bit you can eventually get your rockout emote tome. But as we're getting there, I may as well also explain your World vs. World rank, because that is kind of important. So, as you fill up this experience bar here by just in general doing stuff, you will get these World vs. World rank points. And then you can spend them here on all kinds of various things which will help you in World vs. World. There is a huge list here, and I'm not going to explain every single one of these because that would be a gigantic mouthful, and frankly I think it's too much to comprehend in one go, especially when this video is meant to be just about a rockout emote tome and not about World vs. World. I'm just going to draw your attention to a few really useful ones here and there. The first one is defense against guards, and also guard killer. What this does is it means when you upgrade it, as you can see, the first one will give you 4% reduced damage from guards, and then so on. It will keep on increasing until the last level is 20% reduced damage from guards. Quite useful, honestly. The reason why I recommend these is because a lot of enemy NPCs in World vs. World, such as this one here, this sentry, and also enemy NPCs you can find at the various camps, which you can capture solo, by the way, if you're good enough, will count as guards. Therefore, I really recommend upgrading it, because if you do, it will make you much harder to kill by the enemy NPCs, and it'll generally make your life a whole lot easier. There is also another reward track that you can get in World vs. World, which is the Warclaw reward track, and in general, once you complete it, you gain access to the only mount you can use in World vs. World, which is the Warclaw. Like your regular Raptor and everything else, straight up will not work. So now when I press X on my keyboard, I'm able to actually get a mount. You might want to search how to get a Warclaw mount on YouTube though, because honestly, covering that in this guide is probably going to be too much. Again, I know I'm kind of leaving out things here and there, but I honestly don't want this thing to take too long. Okay, so now I'm going to go over some basic combat with one of the regular type of guards you will face in here in World vs. World, the Sentry. So here's an enemy Sentry. It's classed as a veteran, but honestly it isn't that hard to beat. I'm using a rifle here, and one of the things I mainly want to draw your attention to is the fact that the Sentry will be able to stun you, but they're also melee based. So, the reason why I'm using a rifle here is so that I can fight the Sentry at range and kill him. Because you don't have to fight fair against these things, they AI. Go ahead, fight like a coward. Who will care? You're not upsetting anyone. Another thing I also want to draw your attention to is that when this Sentry gets to low health, like they're right there. I missed it, but when they raise their arm in the air, they will cast a healing spell, which heals them by a massive amount. I was too slow there, but if you have any ability that stuns them, such as my rifle butt skill there, you really, really want to hit the Sentry with that skill in order to disrupt the Sentry's healing and kill the Sentry faster. Because otherwise, it's just a straight up pain fighting the damn Sentry. Also, as you can see here, this spider is now trying to kill me because I accidentally shot the spider while fighting the Sentry. As you can see there, I was able to beat it without that much trouble, but the thing you should always watch out for when it comes to Sentries is that when you first go to one of these locations, you will get this red circle around you and this debuff on you right here, which looks like a black arrow. That basically, the debuff is telling you that the Sentry has seen you, and when it sees you, it's basically notifying the team of the Sentry, who owns the Sentry, in this case, the green team, that you are in fact killing their Sentry. So it doesn't always happen, especially in the downtimes of servers, but occasionally what will have end up happening is I'll be killing a Sentry, and all of a sudden, 5 or 7 players just run along and are like, "Hey, how you doing? I heard you're killing our Sentry. Time to die." And they will proceed to shove a sword down my throat while repeatedly shooting me in the arse and at the same time mashing my head in with a mace. What I'm saying is that is just a very flowery way of saying I die horribly because I am not good at fighting mortal people. Now that I've captured this Sentry, I'm going to show you one last thing, which is about capturing a camp, and then once that's done, that should be all you really need to know to keep up your general World vs. World participation. So, when it comes to camps like this, you will be able to capture them on your own, and it'll provide you a massive boost to your participation, so it'll take ages to take down and start decaying. There is a method to go about killing them, though, like killing everything in the camp. You want to kind of just run a little bit close to them, attract some of them, but then kind of run away to lead them away. And as you can see, that one over there is starting to run away from me and isn't coming back. So I've kind of just attracted a single veteran scout over here. Scouts are very annoying because they continuously hit you with a condition that makes you, like, one of your attacks miss, called blind. But if you keep on rapidly attacking them, it shouldn't be much of an issue. As you can see also here, it can get kind of dicey when you have multiple enemies trying to kill you at the same time. So here, I've got a scout trying to kill me, but I've also got a veteran guard trying to kill me. The tactic I'm using against them, honestly, is cleaving. So basically the idea behind that is I use attacks to hit multiple people at the same time, such as my regular sword slashes and my elite skill here, where I just flail my sword around looking like an idiot, and it gives them heaps of stacks of bleeding. So this guy's basically bleeding so much that even though he healed, it doesn't matter. You're gonna bleed to death in front of me, pal. Like I said, and he exploded into crystals because I have a legendary weapon. That's the only reason why. It's like it's just the highest grade of weapon. It's no different to an ascended one. Like, honestly, don't worry, I have a legendary. It's not going to be that much more of an advantage than you. Duelax, as you can see, have this really annoying stun attack. The good news about Duelax, they're melee based. So again, I can kind of lead them away using my rifle here, and at a certain distance, they're kind of far enough away from everywhere else that they don't really put that much hindrance on my strategy and everything. And again, I'm going to switch back to my sword here, so I can start, in general, just chopping the Doilak. Another great thing about the Doilaks in general, even though that one ran back to his home, is that Doilaks have no healing skill. So you know before how the dude raised his arm in the air and was like, "Look at me, I'm healing. You're gonna take longer to kill me now." Yeah, Doilaks straight up don't have that. And they can also act as the daily. Remember before I said that one of the dailies is killing a Doilak? Well, one of these Doilaks will count as that. So again, here, we're just going to kill the veteran scouts. And then once we're done with that, we're going to take on the other veteran scout and then that Doilak. In fact, I'm going to put a small cut in here because in general, you've seen how you kill scouts, you've seen how you kill Doilaks, so I want to kill both of them and get to the veteran supervisor because he's different. So I'll put a cut in once both of them are dead. Okay, here we are after the cut. The scout actually apparently wasn't even a scout. Instead, she was a quartermaster, which is generally a really weak NPC you hardly even have to worry about. Anyway, when it comes to the quartermaster, his attacks in general can have a lot of knockdown and AoE. And oh, will you look at that? Okay, so here is basically what I thought might end up happening. So the green team has came across me, and there's two of them. And in general, what you usually find a lot of times is this happening in World vs. World. So you may be thinking, oh, this is real easy, isn't it, Cheese? No, it's not. And this is why. People will run around with builds that are just super duper good in World vs. World. Such as, in general, like, they'll be running around with legendary armor, legendary weapons. They'll have builds that are actually good for World vs. World and good for killing other players. This is my just rinky-dink old PvE build I've got here, which is focused on condition damage. I hardly ever run around with World vs. World builds because I am not that dedicated. And as you can see, because I took so long to kill that Provisioner, my World vs. World participation is starting to go down. So, as you can pretty much see from there, it is not always smooth sailing. And in general, that's sometimes what you're going to run across. And so those two players, you can see the little red dots over there. They killed me, and now they're running over to maybe take this fort. In general, if you don't have a big group running with you, you may get killed like that. And if that happens, what I recommend doing is you just switch World vs. World maps to another map, and then you try and go there and capture some things or kill a few sentries or something like that. One of the last things I want to cover is these things here, these ruins. They're some of the easiest objectives to get, and if your team doesn't own all the ruins, what will normally happen is that by the time you run over to one of the ruins and capture it by just standing in a small glowing circle near it, the ruin, by the time you move on to the next ruin, the ruin would decapture itself, letting you run back over and capture it again. Honestly, some people, to fill out the reward track, all they do is go in on the servers on downtime when there's hardly any players from any teams, including theirs, and they will run around in a huge circle to each and every one of these different ruins, capturing them over and over again to keep their participation up. But in my case, my participation is starting to tick down. It's going into the red. It's slowly decaying. And in this case, what I recommend doing if you were in my situation is just switching to another one of these World vs. World maps. Maybe this one, because every single thing is controlled by the other team, although that may mean they're really, really prevalent on the map and they'll just come and kill you as soon as you try and take something. It's a mixed bag with World vs. World. You may find it quite frustrating, but in my opinion, it is not as frustrating as doing the actual achievements associated with getting the rockout emote. And there you have it. That is this guide over, ended, fully done. I don't think I have anything more to say. If I missed something, you can point it out in the comments, and I'll probably give you a thumbs up because I can't think of anything else to say right now in the guide, and you're quite frankly doing a little bit of my work for me. And if you end up doing something like that in the comments, honestly, thanks. I can't think of the thing right now, and you're helping making this video a better guide. But I'm going to call it there, because I don't need to have this thing drag on for any longer than right now. I'm clicking the end recording button right now, in fact.